So, you want to open a non-resident bank account in Dubai? Well, you're not alone. Dubai is one of the safest and most stable banking jurisdictions in the Middle East. Over the last decade, it has become a major banking jurisdiction. Banks from all around the world have set up operations in Dubai, offering standard non-resident bank accounts to ultra-high net worth services and everything in between. But, like elsewhere, Dubai was hit with an onslaught of new bank regulations and forced to comply with stricter KYC and AML standards. Now, not surprisingly, this has increased the difficulty of account opening for non-residents, foreign companies, and even UAE businesses. Many offshore experts will tell you one of two things. First, it's impossible to open a non-resident bank account in Dubai, or second, it's possible, but you'll need their help, which comes with a very high fee. Now, we're here to tell you that these experts are wrong. Opening non-resident accounts in Dubai is possible, and you don't have to pay an introducer an absurd fee to get the account open. Our team of banking experts have analyzed all the non-resident bank account options available in the UAE, and we're happy to report that it's still very much possible to open non-resident bank accounts in Dubai. In some special cases, you might even be able to open an account without visiting the UAE, but this is increasingly rare. The bottom line is that with the right information, the right account opening strategies, and knowing which specific banks and branches to contact, you can open a non-resident bank account in Dubai. So, if banking in the UAE is something you're interested in, stay tuned, because in this video, we'll show you how to do just that and to share what you need to know before applying. But before diving in, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you get alerted every time we post new account opening opportunities. Here at GlobalBanks, we help individuals and businesses unlock the benefits of international banking by helping them find and open accounts with the best banks around the world. And today, we're going to look at how to open a non-resident bank account in Dubai. Now, before talking about specific steps to open a non-resident bank account in Dubai, let's take a closer look at who should bank here. UAE non-resident accounts tend to attract individuals who are struggling to open accounts in other banking jurisdictions. But they're also attractive for those who regularly visit or do business in the UAE or have limited banking options in their home country. Now, there are a number of reasons why Dubai attracts non-resident banking customers, but ultimately it comes down to the fact that it's a safe, stable banking jurisdiction and banking hub. And compared to the rest of the region, its banking system is more advanced and open to foreigners. With this in mind, it should be no surprise that Dubai attracts foreigners from places like Russia, Ukraine, Lebanon, and other countries that carry a stigma making it difficult to open accounts. Citizens and residents from surrounding GCC and MENA countries also view the UAE as a safer, more stable banking option than their home countries. By contrast, individuals from jurisdictions such as Canada, the US, the UK, Australia, and other more widely accepted jurisdictions tend to open accounts in Singapore, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, Austria, or other Western banking hubs before considering the UAE. If you're struggling to open accounts in these other banking jurisdictions, or you're having a hard time because of your industry or nationality, stay with me to learn the account opening requirements and how to open a non-resident account in Dubai. So, we know who should bank here. Let's dive into the benefits of opening a non-resident bank account in Dubai. We are determined to protect our financial and banking system to preserve the interests of our country and people. Sheikh Mohammed, Prime Minister of the UAE. Those words were spoken by Sheikh Mohammed, the Prime Minister of the UAE and ruler of Dubai during the 2008 financial crisis to his cabinet. And those were the words that led the UAE federal government to guarantee 100% of deposits and savings in all national banks. Keep in mind, in the UAE, the deposits of every customer were guaranteed regardless of the amount. Didn't matter if you had 10,000 US on deposit or 10 million US. The government was guaranteeing the safety of your money. Now, that's a stark contrast to the 250,000 US dollar limit in the US, the 100,000 euro limit in the European Union, or the 100,000 Canadian dollar limit in Canada. The UAE government's deposit guarantee, by contrast, was limitless. Now, we don't recommend opening bank accounts in any jurisdiction based on government promises and deposit insurance schemes. But it's a fact that certain countries are more fiscally responsible and better equipped to weather financial uncertainty than others. And the UAE is one of the better jurisdictions. Account opening requirements for non-residents in Dubai. Now, years ago, UAE, and particularly Dubai, was an easy place to open non-resident bank accounts. In fact, banking in Dubai was predictable and reliable for non-residents, offshore companies, UAE companies doing business abroad, and various asset protection structures from around the world. You didn't need a visa or UAE tax residency to open a personal account as a foreigner. Foreign companies also didn't face much scrutiny and didn't need to have a presence in the UAE to open a business account. But times have changed. Today, opening accounts in Dubai as a non-resident has become much more challenging. Maybe, like many watching this video, you've already experienced this firsthand. We'll tackle the subject of opening accounts in UAE for foreign companies in a different video. For now, just know that it's still possible to open business bank accounts for foreign companies, if you know where to look and what to do, though it's rarely talked about. Now, the dramatic increase in account opening difficulty in Dubai is happening for a few key reasons. And these reasons will directly and indirectly impact you and ultimately dictate what your account opening experience will look like at Dubai banks. The primary driver behind tough account opening is a shift towards hyper-transparency. This boils down to enforcing procedures to appease compliance departments and bank regulators. Around the world, this continues to impact the account opening process for millions of legitimate clients and businesses in search of good banking solutions. So take some solace in knowing that you're not alone. In Dubai, this can mean strict controls on who can apply for bank accounts. Additionally, it can often impact what sort of ties to the UAE or Dubai banks will accept. In certain cases, you can be a non-resident, but at other banks, they may require you to have a work visa or at the very least own investments domestically. Let's take a quick look at the accounts that are available to non-residents in Dubai before discussing account opening. If you manage to open a non-resident bank account in Dubai, you might be in for a rude awakening and a lot of fees if you're not careful. What most people don't know and discover too late is that non-resident accounts in Dubai often come with restrictions and limitations. For instance, you might not be able to execute transfers online, only be able to transact in certain currencies, or not be allowed to have a debit card. That's why it's so important to apply to the right banks. If you have the right account opening information and a list of proven banking options, you'll be able to access the services you want. For example, many banks in Dubai do offer credit cards, debit cards, and in certain cases, credit products non-residents. Though there are other considerations that you'll need to look at to determine whether or not you'll be eligible. Additionally, foreign companies can also open business accounts in Dubai, assuming they can meet certain requirements. This process, however, will be much more challenging than opening a personal account as a non-resident. As we've already mentioned, we'll tackle this topic in another video. Bottom line, it is possible to open a bank account in Dubai as a non-resident. But you need to be careful. There are limitations, hidden fees, and only certain banks that will accept you. If you go to the wrong branch and say the wrong thing and you don't know what you're doing, you can end up rejected or with a painfully expensive bank account that you can't even use. Determining which bank is best for you will depend on what you need your account to do and what you're willing to pay. With that in mind, let's take a look at how you can start opening accounts in Dubai today. You can open bank accounts anywhere in the world, regardless of who you are and where you're from, as long as you have the right insider knowledge and contacts. But you still need to know which banks to target, which branches work, their likes and dislikes, their documentation quirks, the account opening strategies that apply to them, and which specific bankers to contact. In other words, you need to know which banks are open to actually onboarding you as a client and which bankers are most willing to accept you and best equipped to represent you to their internal committees. Many people make the mistake of hiring an introducer or bank account opening consultant to contact bankers and prepare their application and due diligence documents. Hiring an introducer to help you open a bank account is a mistake. This is especially true in a world of strict KYC and AML procedures. Banks are legally obligated to know their customer. In other words, bankers want to deal with you directly, not a third-party service provider that doesn't know you or your business. For this reason and many more, paying an introducer $2,000 to fill out paperwork, email it to bankers, and play gatekeeper just doesn't make sense anymore. With the right information and contacts, you're more than capable of doing it on your own, and only you will properly represent yourself and your interests to the bank. Now, we talk a lot about the dangers of introducers. In addition to charging extortionate fees, random third parties that don't know you or your business will never represent your interests fully. They often apply to the wrong banks and recommend the banks that give them the highest commissions. When it comes to opening accounts in Dubai, you need a strategy and a plan of attack. And depending on your situation, you might find that the strategies and tactics you use will vary from bank to bank. So knowing each bank's preferences, sensitivities, and quirks before you approach them and apply is critical. It's the difference between success and failure. But ultimately, there are strategies that almost anyone can follow to successfully open non-resident accounts in Dubai if they have the right information. Of course, that information is difficult to come by, and it's even harder to get first-hand accounts of proven strategies. One of the most successful account opening strategies in Dubai is what we call coming in heavy. This refers to opening an account with a large opening deposit. Now, depending on where you're planning to open an account, what is considered a large deposit can vary. For instance, a large opening deposit will mean something completely different to a private banker in Dubai than it will to a banker in Panama. So, you need to know the banker you're dealing with, what motivates bankers at that, and what their expectations are. Of course, in order to use this strategy to open an account, you have to have a large enough deposit to catch the bank's interest, and you need to be able to prove your source of wealth for compliance procedures to sign off. But don't pay introducers thousands of dollars to provide unnecessary paperwork and perform unneeded tasks. Now, to start opening accounts today, you can obviously use the information that I've shared in this video. Or you can access one of our account opening services and start taking action today. Each of our premium services are designed to help non-resident individuals, foreigners, and their businesses open international bank accounts. Whether you need personal, private, business, offshore, or even US banking, we have an account opening solution that will work for you. You can get started with GlobalBanks IQ, our international banking intelligence service. It gives you step-by-step instructions and all the tools you need to find and open accounts with top banks around the world. Plus, you'll unlock our international intelligence reports, account opening strategies, international bank database, and much more. We also have a dedicated US account opening service called GlobalBanks USA, which is 100% focused on helping non-residents, foreigners, and even foreign and offshore companies open bank accounts in the US. It involves direct one-on-one support from our team of experts and includes access to our US banking intelligence reports, US account opening strategies, and US bank database. And, of course, there's our flagship service, GlobalBank Insiders. With GlobalBanks Insiders, you'll get access to everything we offer, including all of the benefits in GlobalBanks IQ and GlobalBanks USA, plus our entire library of premium reports, the entire GlobalBanks database, and dedicated one-on-one support from our team of international banking experts to help you find and open the accounts you need. So, no matter where you're looking to bank in the world, you're only a few clicks away from finding and opening international accounts. To get started, just click the link in the description below to learn more about the available options. And before signing off, don't forget to subscribe so you get alerted every time we share new banking opportunities. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.